Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We are not dead.
Yeah, welcome back.
It's been a little bit since you've heard from us, because last podcast was published in November. It is the middle of January of 2025.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Um, yeah, holidays. James and I went on vacation because we needed it, but we're back and we're ready. And I am so excited to talk about today's topic because ever since James introduced it to me, I have been legitimately obsessed. It's a problem.
It's we're going to be talking about probably one of the most interesting horror games that's come out recently, and what's now last year, Mouthwashing.
Yes.
A neat
Blew
little
up
indie
in
game.
popularity.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely exploded. It was made by. Let me pull up the actual name of the publishers here. Not the publishers. It was a
Wrong?
developer, Wrong Oregon. It's published
Yes.
by Critical Reflex. They
Mhm.
have one other game slightly tied with it called How Fish is Made. We haven't played it yet. I do have it. We'll get to it soon though.
Oh, you bought it? Or did you have to pay for it, or is it like a free game?
No, it's free. It's totally free.
Oh, sweet. I'll have to try it because I know I've all I've heard about how fish is made is about how like fish ascend to godhood, and that's already enough to like just make me interested in the game. So I mean,
It's got Curly
that's
in there too.
awesome. Hmm?
Curly appears in there too.
Oh yeah, I think that's where they got the design from, if I remember correctly. But heck.
I think they made Curly's design. They decided to flesh out into a bigger character in this. Is what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I
You've
got
probably
you.
been seeing plenty of artwork about this game, guys. Curly is that bandaged up guy wearing the that's like no skin. He's got one eye showing. He's completely covered in bandages. He's wearing like the
Mm-hmm.
little, like the blue smock. Uh, Mouthwashing is set in kind of an alien-esque style of a space freighter that's it's run aground with not really running aground. It's crashed into an asteroid, and
Yeah.
basically everything that's been happening with that. Uh, it's interesting in the fact that instead of having a monster, basically, like, by the way, uh, please experience this game if you haven't done it yet. It's pretty cheap on Steam. It's like 13
Yeah.
bucks. It's worth every portion of it.
Yeah.
Please go play
Oh,
it. Like it's a really good
yeah.
story.
Yeah. One more thing, just because I know we're gonna forget to talk about it. So there are some super, super heavy themes in this video game. Um, yeah, it's pretty good. It's an amazing game, but there is a bunch of stuff about like sexual assault, rape, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Oh my God, what else? There's gore in this game. It's
of course,
very
it's a horror
like
game.
pixelated, but it's pretty graphic. Um, so yeah, just kind of giving a little put a more fledged out warning at the start of the podcast like I typically do. But just giving like a last minute, hey, hold your horses. See what I did there? I'm sorry, that was an awful joke placement, but don't worry, we'll explain the horse thing. Um, but yeah, it gets pretty deep in certain places, so I'm just gonna put that there. So just a little announcement there. Anyway, continue, James.
Where was I? Uh, oh yeah. So mouthwashing, definitely go play it. We're gonna spoil a lot of it here, so be ready for that.
Lots of spoilers.
So mouthwashing. The thing I find really interesting about this horror game right here is that they decided they weren't gonna do a monster or like even like a like serial killer thing. The real monster in this game is human emotions, things humans
Mm-hmm.
do. In fact,
Yeah.
a major twist of the game that we're gonna explore a whole bunch is that you are technically playing as the villain.
Mm-hmm. The
A
cool
lot of
thing
the
that I
games,
really
yeah,
like. Oh, I'm sorry.
they're good. A lot of the game you're playing as a character named Jimmy and partially a character named Curly. Jimmy is the co-pilot. Curly is the captain.
Mm-hmm.
And like we
I will
said, Curly.
address.
Oh,
Go ahead. So, dang, the feedback's awful today. I'm so sorry, guys. This is always an
yeah,
issue with us.
Yeah, Discord has a slight delay, so it's sometimes we wind up talking over each other.
It's not
Uh,
intentional, I swear. It's completely
yeah,
accidental.
but the interesting, like I said, we play partially as Curly, and as you guys know, Curly's that little bandaged up, fucked up guy with no arms and anything.
Mhm,
The reason why uh, is because Curly was in the cockpit when the crash happened.
mhm,
All that shit happened to him because of the crash.
yeah, so
Anyway, continue, Ashley.
yeah, yeah, no, you all good, man. So I will okay, I know that it's been a stupid thing, ever since and that's the one thing that kinda stinks about, like, indie game this is an indie game, by the way, we'll put that in case we didn't mention it earlier, it is an indie game fully, um a lot of people have been it's weird where people have been, like, censoring Jimmy's name and, like, calling him something else like Jim Bob or Jim Barino or I don't understand. We ain't doing that. It's the
The people
character's
are,
name. He's if he ain't gonna take responsibility in the game, we're making him take responsibilities and holding him accountable for his awful actions. So we are addressing this
yeah,
motherfucker by name. So if you have a problem with that, I'm sorry. We're calling him Jimmy. That's his name. He needs to account for it. That's what we're doing. We're not doing no stupid bullshit here. We are going to talk about the game in its entirety and all of that, and the story, and the gorgeous, gorgeous masterpiece that is Mouthwashing to its fullest. We're not cutting corners, we're not sugar coating anything, so there. Have that, people.
yeah.
It's yeah, it's no, we're not doing that. Um, yeah, as James said, it is a recent game. It only came out in September, and I looked it up. It came off, Jesus Christ. Great English, everybody. September 26th of last year, so the year of 2024, which was only a few weeks ago at this time of recording. Um, but yeah, it was created by Wrong Organ. As James said, they've only have one game to their name, which is how fish is made. Um, it's also been published by Critical Reflex, who are behind a bunch of other lesser known games. Their most famous that they have published is Buckshot Roulette, funny enough.
Oh, they published that. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's their publishing, yeah.
yeah, that little game. I originally bought Buckshot on the developer's itch.io page actually a while
Mhm.
ago, and I decided I'd also buy it on Steam just because I like the game that much. And it's like $3.
Yeah.
Like, come on, $3.
I mean, come on, that's nothing, really.
Buckshot Roulette was also revolutionary.
Really, we're gonna have to I do really have to play that game. I'm
It's fun.
so
It's
intrigued.
got multiplayer now.
Oh, hell yeah, we gotta play together then.
Yeah, I played it with some of my friends, and I have a couple of clips I'll have to show you of Mason. Absolutely, it's my buddy Mason. He's in the Navy. He absolutely fucking saying, so if that was blank, then this should be blank too. Putting the shotgun to his head and blowing his head off.
Oh my god, what an awful gambling experience that must have been.
It was hilarious. There's a lot of
Jesus.
moments like that in that game.
It's like, I wonder what this button does.
Yeah. Other recommendation. It's just a fun little game. That game is good for like if you just don't really want to play anything like super insane. You just want to have a nice little party game and something you can play alone. Yeah, that game's
Boom.
good.
You wanna rot your brain for a few minutes? There you go. Boom. Buckshot roulette,
I will
everybody.
I will say that the last year has been absolutely amazing for independent games.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
Buckshot
man.
Roulette, there's Mouthwashing, and also a game I've been fucking addicted to, Outro, the little poker roguelike game. That was made rather recently.
I mean, the
There's
the
a,
game that you're playing all through our vacation next to, what the fuck? Pokemon Go?
I only opened Pokemon Go a couple times.
Mhm.
I
I'm
swear to
watching you,
God.
man. Hey,
Oh
no
man.
hate, bro. No hate.
My entirety of my coworkers are all absolutely obsessed with Pokemon Go. They've been trying to turn the workplace into a gym by suggesting a shit ton of Pokestops in the area.
Oh my god.
They're
That's
trying to force it
honestly
into a
good for
gym.
y'all. Good for
I
y'all.
hope they do because that'd be sick.
But actually, you know what? That'd be funny. Just use it as like an advertising. Like, oh hey, we have tons of Pokemon here. Just saying, you
It's
know.
funny that
You don't wanna
we're
yeah,
all
you don't want a zip line? Get some Pokemon, man.
primarily a bunch of them are on the red team. I'm on the blue team and one of the only
Mhm.
ones, and they fucking. I've been out with my coworkers and like put something in a gym, and only to see them in real time beat the shit out of it as they're
Jesus
standing next to
Christ.
me.
I swear, honey, every story I hear about your coworkers is either something completely normal or it's just completely skewed to something I would never in a million years imagine ever existing.
They're
It's
deranged, and I love
hilarious.
them all.
I love it. Hey, it's a great relationship, it seems. It's
Yeah.
healthy work
Anyway,
environment, I'd say.
very. Anyway,
Uh,
back on topic
yes.
here.
So,
Uh,
the lovely people behind this amazing masterpiece. So we have our producer Kai Moore, an audio designer Martin Halden. I'm sorry if I mispronounced names, by the way. I don't mean to ever.
I did buy the
We got
soundtrack.
our hmm?
I did buy the soundtrack.
You did actually. I need to buy it. We got our art and narrative designer Johanna. Okay, Kasorian. I'm so sorry. Designer and programmer Jeffrey Tomek and our technical designer Dave Von Edgedom. So the developers quoted that they took inspirations from films, games, all that stuff. Like Alien, that's super evident. Like as soon as I opened up this game, I just got Alien vibes instantly.
Yeah,
The Thing, Event Horizon. I'm sorry, go ahead.
it does start out very alien-esque with
So
the
Alien.
way that they talk about the stuff. It
Mm-hmm.
starts off
Like
with like a whole talk about like this is the spaceship Tulpar, so and so ways from away from Earth, and it tosses that little "I hope it hurts" there at the end, which is something
yeah, that
we'll be talking about a lot today. The "I hope it
yeah,
hurts."
that if it wasn't for like the I hope it hurts, I'm just like, just this is this Alien, man. Like it was awesome. 'Cause, I mean, if you haven't known already, Alien is my favorite movie of all time. So just that made the game even better for me just because it was like, oh man, it's awesome. Hmm. Excuse me. Oh, by the way, I will integrate here. I seem to be getting the plague or something, so I apologize if I sound a little raspy or whatever. So, yeah, there you go. Enjoy my ASMR. So, yeah, they took inspiration from a bunch of different media, and the thing I really like about Wrong Organ as a game developer is they use only like low poly, almost kind of like a retro visual style in all of their games.
It's very
Um,
PS1 looking,
very PS1. Like it's so nostalgic. It's awesome. I love it.
or maybe it's PS2. It seems more like PS1
Maybe
models to me.
definitely PS. I think
It's
PS2.
it's like the older style PlayStation S graphics where they all share like the same basic model.
Hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think that is the PS2. I gotta double check that, but I think you're right with the
Yeah,
PS2. That sounds good. That
I'm just
sounds like a
yeah.
good gut
My
feeling
head's just
there.
kind of
That
skewed
PS2.
because my head's just kind of skewed because the only PS2 game I played recently was Silent Hill 2, which I emulated because Silent Hill 2 remaster was not out yet,
Yeah, and
and
now it
that
is.
yeah, now it is, and that was what it has really impressive fucking graphics for its time. I will tell that.
Oh,
Like if
the
you
game
look,
looks amazing.
yeah, if you look back on any of the Silent Hill games, they've got some good graphics on them. Like especially Silent Hill 3 stands out a lot with that. Where
Mhm.
like shit, this is actually like still looks good even like in this current day and age.
Yeah, it holds up well.
It does hold
So
up. It
good
holds
for
up
them.
really well.
Um, but yeah, so Um, the art designer, I'm sorry, did an interview with the Washington Post where they kind of explain that the initial concept behind mouthwashing was inspired by a previous project. I don't know for sure if that project is how fish is made, and I don't want to say that it is in case I'm very incorrect. So I'll leave it there. But mouthwashing was first announced as a part of a free date to how fish is made. So that came out in February of 2024. Full game released months later in September. So, and in that same interview, um, he stated, quote, "It was that state of a team of people trying to convince ourselves we can still fix this if we just try harder. When everything was already limping and on fire, that eventually planted the seed." End quote.
Hmm.
That's all of the history I was able to cover from the game and like back. So, I mean, more than stuff I've researched for in the past, but definitely a little bit of like a good kinda taste to what is to come about the game. So I just thought that was really interesting and I wanted to add it.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, so again, we're getting into spoiled like we already spoiled so much stuff already. And we haven't even deep dived into the game yet. But yeah, spoilers, content warning. All right, let's do it. I'm so excited. I fucking love this game. In case you haven't noticed already.
it's an amazing game. Like it's one of the best well-written games I've seen in a while.
Dude, I think it's like one of the best games I've played, period. Like, it's so good. The storytelling alone is fucking awesome.
It's one of the best narrative games I've played in a long time.
Oh, yeah. I also I don't know why. I'm such a huge fan of nonlinear narrative games. I don't know why. It's just awesome to me. Like, it's just like it's like a puzzle to my brain, I guess. I don't know. It's I just like kind of piecing it together and trying to figure out what actually happened rather than just being kind of like told to me specifically. I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird like that,
Hmm, I gotcha.
if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense.
Okay, sweet. Um, yeah, so, as James said, we're on a freighter delivery ship known as the Tulpar. I think that's how you say it, right?
Yeah,
Tulpar?
the Tulpar, yeah.
The Tulpar. Um, they are a ship, a spaceship, if you will, that is owned by probably one of the worst companies to ever exist in a fictional space area next to Wayland-Yutani. It's insane how awful this company is.
It's pretty bad, especially because this
So
whole
bad.
almost all other freighters at the time are almost completely unmanned because you don't exactly need to be manned if you're just shipping things.
Mhm.
At that point in time, at least.
Yeah.
And so they almost every other company, like legit every other company, is fucking unmanned, and the Tulpar is like the last of them.
Mhm.
So this is probably one of the last ever manned freighter expeditions.
I think it was actually the last one. I believe it was, because I think to my because it seems that, um the setting where mouthwashing takes place, obviously we're in space, and it seems to be almost like a dystopian future that kinda, like, seems to replicate, like, this I don't know, I get 70 vibes from this, but I could be wrong. Because in the game, it is stated that most deliveries are now automated, but the Tulpar is either one of or the last uh manned ship for the company because the company is I think they said that it was going bankrupt and they were laying off all the rest of their people, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah,
what winds up happening in the game. It's kind of the major breaking point of a lot of stuff happening in the story. Is Curly finally getting a fucking space fax from the goddamn company. That's what that shit is. Remember that? It
oh, the
was a
fucking
literal
space fact. Yeah,
fucking
that was
fax machine
insane.
that printed it out. Remember, they're in the future, and they're still using fucking fax machines on this ship.
Yeah, that's why it gave me like 70 vibes because like it was very again going based and you can definitely see where they got like the alien because the cockpit of the Topar reminded me a lot of the control room where Mother was stationed in the Nostromo. Like it looked super similar with like the big
Yeah.
boxy computers and the giant keyboards and like the
There's no
noises
windows
like
on the ship that are ever seen. Everything is kind of small. Even the cockpit itself doesn't actually have a camera. It has like a little wireframe representation of what's happening, and you're fed data just by the ship's computer.
yeah. Honestly, I like that
Very
approach to
isolating.
this.
Very isolating.
Oh, yeah. I almost, prefer that to, like, the modern depictions of spaceship I don't know what it is, but it's just, like, the old technology in the, like, the Tulpar or the Nostromo, it's just it makes the idea of being in space scarier, which I think works for a horror premise, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I like it. It's just super cool. I love it. Um, but, um, yeah, one thing that's important, is that there are multiple examples of the cruel and exploitative nature of Pony Express as a company, not only with the space facts, which I still think is so funny, um, yeah, throughout the entire game, you walk by posters of Polly, the little horse mascot for the company. That's like the posters are fucking insane. Like I don't even know what all of them were, but there was like some posters about like encouraging employees to not sleep for more than 5 hours, and that like any minor mistakes will immediately be docked from their pay. Like, dude, that fucking sucks.
Yeah, it was
Like,
pretty
they can't
terrible.
open yeah, they can't open the cargo hold, even in an emergency, or else their pay gets docked. They can't sleep for more than 5 hours or their pay gets docked. If they take, like, excess, resources, from their food supply, like, extra sweetener or whatever, their pay gets docked. Like, it's awful. Like, if you steal medical supplies, your pay gets docked. Like, everything that is reliant on everyone's survival post-crash is going to get their pay docked. It's insane. It's awful.
It's a lot. It's pretty horrible.
Mhm. And then, like, stupid fucking horse, you can walk by the little statue that's in, like, their little lounge area, and it talks to you. It's like, oh, it's creepy. So fucking creepy. Dude, that horse scares the shit out of me. Ugh. Creepy. Um, oh man. Alright, the fucking horse is gonna haunt like, literally after no lie, when I the night after no, the night that I played the game for the first time, that horse was just in my dreams. It was awful. I could not sleep that night just because of the stupid fucking horse staring at me. It's so
Really?
awful. Yeah, the horse fucking not even, like, the creepy horse from, like, trying to retrieve the mouthwash, for, Daisuke. Um, no,
Oh, yeah,
legitimately,
I had to
the
when we were playing
tiny
this game, I had
cartoon
the
horse statue. Hmm?
in the bit where it was where like you're getting the mouth washing for Daisuke, I had to legitimately like coax you along to keep moving because you froze up so hard when you were
I
playing
was
through that section.
scared! Dude, like, those fucking noises are creepy as shit. But no, it wasn't okay, almost wanna play the game again just to see what that fucking creature looks like because I didn't see it that entire mini game. Like, I just didn't want it. No, I just didn't. Um, but so I didn't but that's not the face that visited me in my dreams. It was the little guy. It was Polly, the tiny little horse fucking circle chonky horse thing
Wait,
creature.
did you actually see those in your dream?
Yeah, Polly. Oh god, he was creepy.
You saw Paul in your
He was
dreams?
just yeah, I did.
Oh shit!
The night that I played the game, he was just there talking to me like, "Get the fuck out of here, Polly. I don't need this shit." I was like, "I don't need you here. Please go away." Like, Polly says, "Stop being a little bitch and play the game." Anyway, um, yeah, yay, horse. Um, so we are told that the crew is currently en route on a 382-day shipment with an elapsed transit time of 147 days. That is about halfway through their journey when this ship fucking crashes. It's awful.
Yeah, they're still a ways away from Earth
Yeah,
when
like
we got
they're
fucking
not
hit.
even close to the thing. Um, but yeah, our crew. So we have Captain Curly, who literally is named probably only because of his hair, which I think is funny.
His hair's amazing.
His hair's amazing. God, dude, his hair's fucking luscious as shit, dude. Man, what man, I just want to touch it. It's like, oh, I want to pet him. I want to pet Captain Curly. Boy. I
You want to pet Captain Curly?
want to pet Captain Curly. That's such a wrong thing to say. Okay, so what if I want to pet Captain Curly, honey? Yeah, so we have Captain Curly. We have Jimmy, the co-pilot. Fuck Jimmy. That's all I'm gonna say. Fuck Jimmy. We have the medic Anya, my sweet, sweet, sweet baby. Oh my god, I love her. Oh, I want to carry her. I just want to hug her. Um, Swansea, who is the mechanic, and Daisuke, also my other sweet, sweet, gentle baby, who is an intern that was added last minute from the company. That's important.
Yeah,
Um,
Daisuke really gets the fucking shorthand of this.
oh god, poor Daisuke. Damn, what an awful trip to be on, dude. But yeah, another thing that's super fucked is how you know how we just said that Daisuke was added last minute? Yeah, probably not the best trip for that to happen on. You
Yeah,
see, yeah. So you see, aboard the Tulpar, there are cryo chambers. You see, there's only 4 cryo chambers on the ship through the entirety. There are 5 crew members. You know what that means, everybody? Someone getting fucking left behind in the case of an emergency. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, it's always fun, right? So yeah, uh, yeah, someone's getting left behind. Not a good. Not good in the case of an emergency.
yeah,
What do
very
you
not
think,
good.
James?
The fact that there's everything that they do is just the world's biggest oversight with everything that's fucking involved.
They talk about the crew or specifically Pony Express?
Specifically, Pony Express.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
if there even are waiver laws, they're definitely violating several.
Dude, are there labor laws in space?
Space maritime labor laws.
My God. There definitely wasn't fucking Alien. Thank you, Wayland Yutani, for being the biggest piece of shit in fiction. Alright, moving on.
I honestly
Kidding.
think even this place might even be worse than Wayland
I think it's
Yutani.
worse than Wayland Yutani, actually. Legitimately, I think you're right. If I would
I think
rather
I'm pretty
Alright,
confident
go
that
ahead.
they're worse. They're worse than Wayland Yutani
Oh, I think so.
because Wayland
Legit.
Yutani at
If
least
I had to choose between two of these places to work at, I would rather work at Wayland Yutani than work at Pony Express. Done.
is at least you still get paid decent and you get breaks. Like
Mhm.
the fucking you have this. I shit you not. This is the biggest thing that really stuck out to me. With fucking god damn it. There's a poster on the wall that you walk past talking about clocking out. They have to clock out on their ship freighter,
That's so fucking stupid.
despite constantly being aboard the ship. You have to clock out.
Did they say what? Wait, hell, actually, you know what? Legitimately, let me see if I can actually find these fucking posters. Washing,
That'd be good background for when we're talking about
clean
stuff.
posters. Okay.
But god damn it, I would be beyond angry if I got a job where I'm constantly aboard and they have me clock out.
Okay, let's see. All
I
right.
would lose
Um,
my shit.
I would be so mad, dude.
So like I'm already on the ship for like the entirety, and they're gonna continue to penny pinch.
Yeah, we love that. Oh my god, please let me find these posters. I want to read them, please.
It's
Um,
one of the reasons I think it's fucking worse.
and also like the stupid horse. The stupid horse makes all of them the worst. Like I don't know what it is. It just hurts. It does. It fucking hurts, man. Okay, I can't. I can only find like what the fuck is it? Words, not pictures. Um, I can find these and I'll quote. We have don't be daft. Proper preparation prevents accidents. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and the crew safe. Medical expenses will be from personal credits. Um, which I feel like now that I'm reading through these, I feel like these actually probably align. I could be stupid. I feel like each poster maybe like aligns with a different member of the crew.
Kind
Like,
of.
so let me read this again. So, don't be daft. Proper preparation prevents accidents. It's your responsibility to keep yourself and the crew safe. Medical expenses will be docked from personal credits. I feel like that references Curly. If I'm kind of getting on something here,
Oh,
because
because the poor bastard being just stuck.
yeah, yeah, because Curly failed to account for Jimmy's poor mental health, and this in itself, he put the crew in danger. He he is responsible for the well-being of his entire crew, um, as well as him being reliant on medicine after the crash. So that makes sense. Um, the next poster is Giddy Up Galaxy. Punctual delivery is our pride and promise. No matter where you are, late deliveries will be docked from personal credits. I feel like this might be kind of like a weird thing, but I feel like that might reference Anya just because it seems like an obvious reference to her pregnancy, which sets in motion the game's events, which kind of shows, you know, punctual delivery. Um, I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking into it too hard. I don't know.
I guess I can see it.
Uh, yeah. Hope. Maybe hopefully I don't sound stupid. Um.
It might be
Oh, here you
stretching
go.
just a little bit, but I think it's pretty close.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Anya's a sweet baby. She did nothing wrong. That's the only thing I could think of. Lend a hand. Teamwork is the soul of success. When you have completed your tasks, always check on other tasks. HR complaints about poor team synergy may result in collective punishment. That's a Jimmy. That
Yeah,
just screams Jimmy because again, he's the person that tore the entire crew apart, and his actions led to their collective punishment, which was, death. Um, Last poster I got here. Rise and shine. Sleep is the best rest after a long day of work. Earn that rest. Don't overdo it or fall behind. Do not indulge in over 5 hours of rest.
I like that I can in over five, so you don't even get 8 hours.
Yeah, you can't go over 5. That's so fucking stupid. No sane, healthy human being can function on 5 hours of sleep. No. I
Unless
don't care what you
when
say,
you're
college
stupid.
kids. I am one, and I know that that's bullshit.
I got 5 hours of sleep last night.
James, shut the fuck up.
I was
Stop.
I was tired.
Oh my god. See, exactly.
It's
You know
kind
what?
of strange in how I work, in that sometimes if I have too little sleep, there's like a bell curve in being able to sleep correctly for me. If I
Mhm.
have just enough sleep but still lose out on a little sleep, I'm energetic the whole day. But if I sleep way too long, like I just sleep like maybe like 10 hours, I feel worse.
I do too, honestly. Did you get good rest on the vacation?
I got a great rest on vacation.
See, exactly. And guess what? That was some good quality 7 to 8 hours, baby.
Yeah, that's a while.
So, get some fucking sleep. Anyway, so yeah, this company sucks. In case you didn't realize, very bad, very bad. Um,
And we're going to talk a
so
little
yeah.
bit, especially about the HR complaints receiving involving collective punishment.
Mhm.
That's very related to what Jimmy winds up doing to Anya.
How so?
So Jimmy, right there. Uh, like I said, we don't know it because of the way the story uses nonlinear storytelling masterfully to
Mhm.
reveal things in such a way, and even kind of portray like cognitive blocking. You know, like when you see something, but you don't really want to see it, so your brain blanks part of it out.
Yeah.
Uh, with fucking Jimmy, there's a bit where Anya is talking to Curly before the crash, and she randomly out of the blue mentions, "Hey, do you know why they only have locks on the medical room doors and nothing on the like the actual court like sleeping quarters?"
Mhm.
I suppose safety. So it talks about the fact that there is no locks on the doors, and pretty soon after, we find out that Anya's pregnant,
Yeah. And you
and
can
it is
kinda connect
not
the dots
willingly.
from there.
Yeah, it's only implied. Nothing is ever shown or ever really talked about aside from some of the kind of bits of Jimmy fighting against, like even taking responsibility for it, because that shows up a lot. The reason Jimmy is in this situation, why he's acting the way he is because he just will refuse to take any sort of responsibility for any of his actions. Any of his
Yeah,
actions
like
against Anya, he's throughout the game he still believes he can just fix everything. He doesn't feel the consequences of what happens to him.
mhm.
Right up to the point of the game where he commits the ultimate cowardly act of still believing that he fixed everything and then shooting himself.
Yeah, it's deep shit. And I mean, I'm very glad you actually brought this up because I really want to talk about Anya, specifically, and also I want to point out something that I thought of. So, you know how Anya tells Curly, "Hey, I told you," when he asks like what happened, who did this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, she says, "Captain, I told you." Given that Anya's how we, meet her in the game and get her dialogue and stuff like that, we learned that Anya's prone to dropping hints instead of being direct about things. And given that Hurley seems totally blindsided by the news of the pregnancy, like you were saying, let alone sex, as he states, who would you like, who would you do this with? Like, whatever, why, that kind of thing. I feel like it's also implied that she didn't tell him about the assault before that moment. In the which case, I told you is not, to me at least, is not Anya reminding Curly that she's already disclosed the assault, but it's her asking Curly to put together all of the context clues until now. If he thinks about it, he'll get it without either of them having to mention Jimmy by name.
Or maybe she isn't even talking about I told you in that sense. Maybe she's talking about I told you as in I told you I was uncomfortable with him.
Yeah, which that's the glory of this game. Like, there's so many things that you can pull from just like a few words. It's amazing storytelling.
It's really well written. Like this
Like
is
you
insanely well
could
written.
you could sit there for hours thinking about, oh my god, what do they mean by this? What do they mean by this? What do they mean by this? It's insane. It's awesome. And I also again want to talk about Anya because when looking at Anya as a character, we never really see her much beyond her trauma, which I think is so fucking sad if you really think about it. Which
We
again,
see a
I
bit of
get.
her.
Well,
We get to see other parts of her personality throughout the game, how she handles stuff. The trauma,
yeah,
I almost didn't realize what happened in the first time I played through. I had to look at other people talk about it to realize that that's what happened.
yeah. Well, and then meanwhile, as soon as that happened, I knew exactly what the fuck happened. It's just like more of like also like background too. I feel like if you as a living being have different experiences in life and know people that have different experiences and that stuff, I feel like the your knowledge of things and your experience in day-to-day life, and trauma and all that stuff takes a toll on how you perceive things. And in the case of playing a game so deep and thought provoking such as this, you could play two people could play a game And we've talked about this with, like, movies and stuff. We've talked about this a bunch of times where, like, James and I will watch the same movie at the same time, and we'll get 2 different ideas from it. The
Yeah,
same thing with this. So, but to me, personally, um, seems that w we for Anya, when we look at her, we are either talking about her talking like, if we're either talking to her post-rape as Curly or as Jimmy, her abuser. She wants to be more than just the worst moment of her life as she claims, but the circumstances in which she was written don't allow her to. So from the perspective we, the player, have, she actually is just her trauma. That is her curse, which makes her death even more fucking depressing because we're
yeah.
never going to see who she was or who she could have been if none of that stuff has happened to her. And another thing about her is that she's so fucking smart and resourceful, given that she's working in shitty conditions with severely limited supplies. And it's amazing how she managed to keep Curly alive for 5 months after a crash, even with the hellish injuries that he has and the very limited painkillers and medicine and, like, bandages that they have. Like, it's incredible. She's a genius. I love her.
The
Um
a little fun fact about her design, just her physical design, is that a lot of people would notice that she's very heavily inspired by Shelley Duvall, who played
Mhm.
Wendy in The Shining.
Yes.
Looks almost identical to her, actually.
I know, like, it's oh my god, it's amazing, I love her. It's amazing. I feel like that also works because if anyone has seen The Shining, you kinda know about Wendy Torrance as a character, you can almost put Anya and Wendy side by side, and they're very similar in the sense of they're in different they're in completely different situations and environments and dealing with different people, but on a much broader scale, if you narrow things down, they're almost kind of dealing with the same thing, where they're dealing with a person, an individual that they're scared of, and are trying their best to just kind of ensure that they do not enrage this person for their personal safety.
That's
And
what a lot of you see Anya doing in post crash, is attempting to placate Jimmy so he doesn't get more
like,
violent than he already is, because he already lashes out pretty often despite it. Anytime he's basically told to do anything, he gets upset.
yeah, yeah, it's insane because again, the game very deliberately never goes into stuff about like how she's resourceful and stuff and knowledgeable, and that we only see her the way Curly and Jimmy see her, and they only see the trauma Jimmy inflicted on her. He does nothing to stop it, and Jimmy doesn't even register Anya herself as a person.
Yeah,
Like,
she's the only one that doesn't get a proper like guilt little scene, because all the other characters when they die, Jimmy thinks about them after. They all have their own specific scenes dedicated to like about like how he felt killing them or like how it all felt to him. But
hmm
Anya gets nothing. She's turned into a prop in the setting. She's just a body
yeah,
laying there.
yeah, and it's really sad because if you take the things from the game in you knowing how Jimmy is as a person, you can tell that in like again, going through the game and going through the mini games in the background and all this stuff that Jimmy has in his head, you can only see that he only sees the fetus and only he sees the fetus and he sees her only as a consequence of his actions. He doesn't see her as a person, which I think is absolutely disgusting, but is good writing for a villain. Because it's sad because people like this exist in the real world. It's very sad.
Yeah,
But
Jimmy's like really realistic and he's
and I
also
think
well written as well.
oh yeah. And I think that's
Yeah.
why the he works so well as a villain because he's real.
A
There
lot
are
of
things
times,
like this in the real world.
people confuse with enjoying how well a character is written with liking the things the character does,
Mhm.
but that's not exactly what it means. That the actual Reddit dedicated to this game is a little childish.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't enjoy going on there a lot. Aside from some of the art, well, the artwork's beautiful, and sometimes there's decent discussions, but not a lot of times. There's not very good discussions that happen over there. It's just people screaming about Jimmy, and like
Yeah, or
we had a
Jim
whole
Bob or
game.
whatever the fuck they call him.
We had a whole game dedicated to that.
Mhm.
There's a couple other characters. There's plenty of other characters to talk about, like Swansea. We should probably
Mm,
actually go over the entire crew because we haven't
yeah,
mentioned the entirety of the crew yet.
yeah. But one more thing I wanna just kinda get out of my chest before we, kinda devolve into the other characters. And speaking this is a good way to kinda move into the other characters. Um, it's so Captain Curly is a very interesting character because, again, like you said, with like going on Reddit, people say, "Oh, Jimmy's the bad guy." There's also a lot of people that say that Curly is a bad guy, and I want to ask your opinion on that. Do you think that Curly is a good guy, a bad guy, or a bit of both?
I've never liked the concept of good and bad. Like, sure, it might apply to like more simple stories, but
Like superheroes, I think.
yeah, the characters, like the concept of good and bad, more apply to actions than people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can quantify actions and how they interact, but people are complex. They're too complex to just have a simple thing like that. That's how I feel about that. I don't
Yeah.
think Curly is like did anything horrible. I can understand why people would be upset with how he handled things, but still, that happens. That's
Yeah.
he didn't. I don't think he's a terrible character because I don't think he meant any harm the entire story.
Yeah. I agree. Actually, I do agree.
He's
Um.
also he's also the captain of the ship. He has to run everything.
Mhm.
He has final say in everything. He also is the only one with the code scanner to actually get shit for people half the time.
Yeah. My my thing of Curly is I feel like he is a he wants what's best for his crew. Like I feel like he does legitimately care about the people that he's around, but I feel like his perception of what is right and wrong is blinded or at least skewed. And I think that also makes him human because there are so many times where you could be doing something that you to yourself think is what's best, but that might not necessarily be the best course of action for the person that you're actually trying to take care of. And I think that's cool as to me, Curly's character arc directly parallels that of Jimmy's. He ignores the initial warning from Anya, and when she heavily implies that Jimmy assaulted her, his first reaction isn't to comfort her, it's to find Jimmy, the perpetrator, and reassure him that everything will be fine. Curly
Yeah,
shrugs off Anya's worst no, he shrugs off Jimmy's, my apologies, not Anya. He shrugs off Jimmy's worst qualities and actions, thinking can all be fixed and we can do that together. And not realizing that the gravity of what Jimmy did until it's too late. In the moment where he finally does, he gets punished for it. Instead of taking accountability, responsibility for assaulting a fellow crew member and traumatizing her, as well as abusing his friend's trust in him, he tries to commit a murder suicide, and even that seemingly isn't enough to fully open Curly's eyes. Think the reason he begins to laugh when Jimmy takes the gun is because that is the moment where it finally clicks to him. And
I honestly think he understood the second that he realized what did you when he got in the accident. I think him
mhm,
laughing in that moment, personally, I think that was more of him just breaking down that everything was so far out of hand. The fact there was nothing he can do, he had nothing
yeah,
left to do but laugh.
yeah,
That's what I think about
yeah,
that scenario, at least.
that's fair. I'm sure that's probably it, really, but I don't know
Despite,
what it is, but I think just
despite,
the go ahead, I'm sorry.
you're good. Despite what happens to almost everyone in this one, I honestly think that what happened to Curly was one of the most torturous things that could have happened.
Oh, 100%. I don't think he deserved it. I mean, I
Anya,
feel like Curly
Anya,
is in the wrong for some of the stuff he did, but I definitely don't believe that he deserved what he got.
Yeah,
Far from it.
Anya got some of the worst shit possible happen to her. She had
Mhm.
sexually assaulted sometimes. I'm not at all brushing that off.
Yeah.
But the night, at least Anya still had agency and was able to move and wasn't in like horrendous pain aside from having to live with the psychological damage of what happened to her.
Mhm.
Curly lost all of his skin, his limbs, is barely kept alive, can't speak, is in anguish, and cannot do a single thing to stop the person that he now knows is a complete madman that he should have done something about. And he has to
Yeah.
just sit there with that guilt, being kept alive forcibly,
Yeah.
and sit
God,
there
that
and
must be
watch
the
all of that
worst.
happen.
Yeah, just imagine feeling like you're responsible for something that you're not really responsible for, and just have you not being able to do anything about it. Oh my god. And what it makes it even worse is, like, the end of the game where he's in the cryopod stuck
Eh,
because everybody else is gone. He can't get out. He has no one. He is alone. He might not be able to he really you don't know if he's gonna get rescued, if he's gonna fucking die there 20 years from now. That's awful.
and the fact that
That's a
Curly
pain
he watched all that happen, completely powerless, and was the only one to survive the ship. Well, in a way,
in a way,
if he ever gets
but
rescued.
if but
All that he
fuck,
survives the
dude,
entirety of all that extreme mental and physical anguish and has to
mhm,
continue to live through it.
that's fucking awful. Oh my god,
Right?
but
And Jimmy, that son of a bitch, died believing he fixed everything.
yeah, but oh my god, it's just oh, it's so, so awful. Um, Another thing I wanna add, for Curly is, I feel like it's possible that Curly wasn't really fully burned, I would say. Um, Tinted that when the ship crash as Curly diverts the path just enough, it's actually the foam that sticks to his skin. Because remember, Swansea said that they had to pull him out. When they had to pull him out, they had to break
Yeah,
him
he's almost
out of the
completely encased
foam.
in the foam.
Yeah. What if that foam? Because remember when, Curly had to get the axe to free Daisuke after he accidentally triggered the foam and it got stuck to his skin? What if the foam got stuck to his skin, his burning flesh, which doused the fire, but he had to get technically skinned alive to get out of the
Oh,
foam.
like it welded to his skin.
Mhm.
That might be why he's missing all his skin because I don't think just he wouldn't have survived full burns like that in like a non-intensive.
Yeah.
If they unless they had specific burn stuff and they barely have medical supplies on board. Anya's a fucking miracle worker for even keeping him alive as long as he has.
Yeah. That's just because I know a little bit I don't wanna say, "Oh, I'm a doctor, I know things." No. I mean, I'm just using a very basic medical knowledge for this,
Got
but
no
just
epidermis.
no epidermis, oh my god. Yeah, literally, his epidermis is gone, but his dermis is still fully intact. So, I feel like he started to have the burn, which, like, the explosion happened, he got doused in fire, that's evident, but I feel like the foam activated so fast that the rapid cooling of the foam, because again, the foam is, like, basically like a giant airbag thing, which is supposed to prevent damage to the breaching of any ship's hull to trigger that could trigger oh my god, I can't speak, trigger lethal decompression. Um, the cold you have to, like, have that foam in, like, a cold area. So that foam is gonna come out super fucking cold when it first comes out of wherever it came from. So that cold foam mixed with the burning of Hurley's flesh, that thing's going to stick to each other, and you ain't gonna get that shit off. So that's also awful that in order to free him, they had to basically do a Saw 3 and rip him out of his skin. That's a that's awful possible scenario. Oh, that doesn't help.
Just so much horrible shit happens in this game. And what's kind of
Yeah.
fucked up is almost all of it could happen in real life.
Oh, I feel like it could.
It's none of this is like sci-fi. He got gored by a monster and or like got stabbed by a serial killer. This is like really realistic horror. And we haven't
Mhm.
even gotten to why like the actual mouth washing. like why it's called mouthwashing, the actual
I know,
mouthwash in
like,
the game.
there's so much stuff to this game, it's amazing. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, just because we drove a little bit, we'll just do a little thing. So we got the Tulpar. It's sabotaged by Jimmy. Crashes into an asteroid. We meet Captain Curly, co-pilot Jimmy. Fuck Jimmy. Our sweet baby Anya, Swansea, and Daisuke. We're going to go to Swansea and Daisuke. There we go.
We haven't talked about them much.
So, uh, I actually hated Swansea when I first played the game. Oh man, Swansea. Oh my god, you're a sweetheart.
You hated Swansea at first until you saw how he acted the rest of the thing.
I did, and I felt horrible for feeling that way about it.
I really like Swansea. He's one of my favorite characters in there because he reminds me a lot of people I've known in real life. He's a very
Mhm.
realistic character. I've worked with people just like him.
Yeah. Which, don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been a bit gruff, but he probably was one of the most caring people aboard.
oh, 100%. Like, he, like, didn't it felt like he hated, um, what was it? He hated Daisuke, but you could tell he cared about him because it was even revealed that he kept the last remaining functional cryopod for him. But fucking Jimmy had to ruin it. Because of course. But
Yeah.
Um, I will say one thing another thing, I used to be in FFA and I did plant identification
What FFA
and
is, by the way, it's a Future Farmers of
future for
America. I
yes.
don't know if the non-southern states even have it.
They
We
fucking
live
don't.
pretty
But
deep in the south.
yeah, funny enough, it's not even really excuse me, it's not even really called that anymore. It's something else because, like, oh, you can't call it farmers anymore. It's so fucking stupid. Anyway, that's not the point. So I know a bit about plants. It's stupid. I'm a plant nerd. It's great. Um, but so on Daisuke's shirt, he has a bunch of hibiscus flowers on it. If you know about hibiscus flowers, you can eat them, they made in tea, they're nice, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous, all that stuff. Another thing about hibiscus flowers is that they tend to die pretty young and very fast. It's hard to keep them son of a bitches alive. Um, does depend on the species, I will say, but um, the one that seems to be on Daisuke's shirt is a very southern version of a very tropical version of hibiscus. They tend to live in regions such as Key West, the Bahamas, Mexico, very hot, humid places. Um, those specifically tend to die very fast. They tend to die in either a day or two or between 5 and 10 years. As we see in the game, Daisuke is represented by hibiscus flowers. What happens to Daisuke? He dies very young and very quickly to an axe to the face.
It wasn't. It's a pretty like outwardly. It seems like a monstrous thing that Swansea does because Swansea is the one who ends Daisuke's life. But it was after he couldn't stop. They couldn't stop the bleeding on his leg after Jimmy made him go on that fucking vent.
Oh my god. Oh my god, yeah. So
Swansea just simply wanted to make sure he had no more suffering.
we'll talk about that later as we go into
Yeah.
the weird chronological but oh my god, I'm gonna fucking fucking Jimmy. Um anyway, so another thing um I thought of is at least it's my headcanon, if that's the right word for it. I feel like Anya told Swansea because Swansea is that guy. He seems like a trustworthy father figure. It's great. I think he's a yeah, he is a dad actually. He does have a family. He says before
Oh
he
yeah.
dies. Um, but I feel like Anya told Swansea about the abuse, but not about pregnancy because I am saying this because he would have. I feel like he probably would have tried to save her and the child and would have probably killed Jimmy on spot. I feel like he did. Well, sooner than he tried to. We'll put it that way. Um, I fe- so again, Swansea was a father himself, and so even if Anya didn't want the baby, I feel like chances are that he would try to save a pregnant woman. So she probably left that out, considering that she probably was thinking about to put herself very nicely. Like, God, I should not have said it like that. I am so sorry. I was not a good way of phrasing that. Um, um,
You're good.
unaliving herself. There we go. God, why did I do that? Ooh, I'm gonna bleep that section out. That was awful. Um,
Remember, we can actually
I'm
say suicide.
Yeah, we can. Sorry.
I really,
Uh,
I've always disliked the concept of having to censor, especially talking about heavy subjects.
yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry if that was very rough. I try to I try to avoid saying that, and my English skills did not want that to happen, so my apologies.
You're good.
Um, but yeah, she was probably considering that, and that she had no way of or desire of keeping the baby. So by keeping the fact that she was pregnant, she probably ensured that Daisuke would be the number one priority instead of her.
Yeah,
At least that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm feeling. If that makes sense.
that's what I believe too. Sorry, I had to
Okay.
mute there. I was sneezing. I didn't want to
No,
deafen
you're
your
all
ears.
good. No, you're all good. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah. So um Swansea really cares for Daisuke and Anya. He definitely seems to be like kind of like the protector of the both of them. And it seems like he wants to try to do everything he can to make sure that both of them are safe, which thank God for Swansea.
He's
Um
really the only one that actually does much about what Jimmy did, because he actually attempts to legitimately kill Jimmy later.
oh no, he tries to fucking shoot him. Like no, not shoot him. He tries to
Tries to put an axe into his head. Almost
yeah,
succeeds too.
almost.
I still think the last words that he said to Jimmy said to Swansea with like Swansea, everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna fix it. While actively
Mhm,
raising the gun to him,
mhm.
really demonstrates how the both of them just behaved. Because even tied to the chair like that, Swansea's last words, "Fuck you."
Yeah. He's like, I don't care anymore. Just do it.
Even when being shot, he went on his own damn terms.
Yeah, it's like, go ahead, do it, man. I don't care.
He took the most control of the situation than anyone.
Mhm. And I think that's awesome. I mean, again, horrible that he had to do that. But at that point, I feel like he I feel like Swansea deep down already knew that there was no way that he was going to be able to get any sense out of Jimmy. There was nothing that he could
Yeah,
do. Like he was in a really awful point. He probably had a feeling that what was going to happen was going to happen. So he's like, you know what? I just want to let you know that you stink. And actually, and I think it's so interesting. Um, oh my God, sorry, just trying to stifle a cough here. Am I good? We good?
all right.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I had a cough coming, but I think I'm okay. So I'm gonna keep talking. Um, but I feel like because so another thing about Swansea is he was a previous alcoholic that was on a sobriety recovery journey for like I think he said like 15 years if I remember. Like 15 years he was on sobriety for him. What a king. Um And another thing that really rubs me the wrong way with Jimmy is he convinces Daisuke where they're trying to get Anya. She locks herself in the medical room and they're trying to break in to get her. Um, and Jimmy convinces Daisuke that he needs to make it through the vent into the medical room. But Swansea's guarding it. So Jimmy has the good idea to make a cocktail that's spiked to knock out Swansea so they can go into the medical bay, the utility room to access the vent that goes into the medical bay. No, Jimmy had no hesitation when he's like, "Oh, yeah, we'll just fucking knock them we'll drug them. We'll just
It's
fucking
implied
drug
that
them."
he's done it before too, with how familiar he was with it.
Yeah, which that rubs me the wrong way. Why?
At least I think it's
Because we know what happened to Anya. There's a good fucking chance that this jackass did the same thing to her. I feel like that's what he fucking did, and I don't like that.
yeah. I think that's might have been what he did.
Fucking oh, yeah, you know he's a good villain when I fucking start get heated.
He's really, really well written.
He's so well written. Oh my god. Oh my god. Um, but another thing I think is super interesting is when we're talking about like Jimmy's kind of conflicting viewpoints with each other. I find it interesting because Jimmy finds himself in a graveyard. He's being hunted down by Swansea, but you know he gets them. And then Swansea confesses that he spent addicted to alcohol were the best years of his life. It implies that the car pot was intended for Daisuke. And then he's like, Jimmy, you're fucking selfish. You're a coward. Fuck you.
A
Um,
big part of Swansea that I really like is, despite how much he wrecks his body, he's quite selfless. He
he
understands
is.
and is accepted that he thinks he's gone, and he
Mhm,
chooses instead to preserve this younger kid that reminds him a lot of himself when he was younger.
mhm, and I think that's super sweet because
Yeah,
that's I feel like that's a dad thing, and, he just want the best for you want the best for what you want the best for your kids, and Daisuke was just the youngest there. He literally was a kid.
yeah. He was
It's
like
fucking
maybe.
sad.
Wonder. Let me check how old Daisuke is.
I feel like he's a teenager. I feel like he was a teenager,
19. People think he's 19. I
but
could see him being 19.
I feel like he's definitely in the teens. I don't think he's quite 20.
Yeah.
Maybe he is. I
Also,
feel like maybe he's 21 at oldest.
this is something I just want to go over.
Mhm,
Uh, all of the mouthwashing characters in the said directly by the actual was it said directly by the actual developers all have their actual own favorite Pokemon.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I love that fact.
Daisuke is kind of funny in that his favorite Pokemon is actually Wyrd, which is actually a Digimon. He doesn't know what the difference is apparently.
Mhm,
Uh, Curly's favorite Pokemon, if I remember, is Pikachu. I
mhm,
just thought this was funny. Yep, Curly's favorite is Pikachu. Jimmy's Mega Rayquaza, because of course it is.
mhm,
Swansea really likes fucking, what is it, Herdier, I think? Which
mhm,
honestly kind of looks a lot like him. Yeah, Herdier. And
mhm.
Anya likes Glaceon.
Oh, yeah.
And I just thought it was really interesting and kind of funny that they gave them all their favorite Pokemon. He
I know.
humanizes all of them.
It's cute.
I also like the
Um,
fact that Pokemon still exist in this distant future.
yeah.
I think it's funny.
Holy shit. I just realized that we started recording around like 7:30. It's been a little over an hour. We still haven't got to the fucking prologue to the game.
We haven't gotten to the what?
Haven't got to the fucking. We haven't got to the plot of the game yet.
The what of the game? Oh, I'm sorry, I can't
Plot.
tell
We
what you're
haven't
saying.
gotten to the fucking actual things that happen in the game. We're just, oh my god.
We
We're
don't need to
staying on
discuss
topic though.
we don't need to discuss the entire plot of it.
No, but I just think it's really funny that we're still talking about the characters. That's on
Yeah.
me, probably.
No, that's all good. That's all we really need to do. We don't need
Yeah,
to. It'd be boring if it's just summarizing the whole game.
very true, very true. Um, I'm sure we could probably talk about stuff and then go from there.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Where the fuck did we leave off? Okay, yeah, we did talk about some of the crew. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure more will pop off in our heads as we continue down the fucking ladder here. Um, so yeah, the crew survives. Um, awesome. Curly unfortunately is left unable to speak, move, severely mutilated. He's being kept sedated, being a very, very, very fast dwindling supply of painkillers, and Jimmy declares himself acting captain as a result, and accuses Curly of causing the crash after going postal. We already know that Jimmy caused the crash, not Curly. Curly was trying to stop it.
That's another horrible
Um,
thing is that everyone died thinking Curly betrayed them, and he couldn't ever rectify it.
yeah, oh my god, dude. Oh, it just, man, that's a fucking blow. Fucking Jimmy. I swear to God.
Yeah.
Fucking Jimmy. Um, yeah, so, see. So, the game starts from the perspective of Jimmy. Oh no, we already did that. Sorry. I'm trying to go through everything. Okay. So, food and medical supplies run super low. I think we kind of start off like 2 months after um they their stuff is like running out, and um they open up their cargo hold, which again, the company said not to because their pay is gonna get docked. Fuck that shit. They do it anyway. But they don't find food or medical supplies. No, no. What do they find, James?
Just fucking mouthwash. Miles of it.
Like miles of mouth. Like it's just boxes upon boxes of just fucking mouthwash.
There's so much shit in there. It's fucking awful.
It's sad. Like just fucking mouthwash. Why do they need 5 people to deliver fucking mouthwash? I don't understand. Jesus Christ. But yeah,
That's what
this
that's
this
what
shit
their whole lives are on the line for. It's a shit ton of mouthwash. Not like
is
food
fucking
or medical
mouthwash.
supplies or anything. Yeah.
Imagine your life being worth like just delivering boxes of mouthwash. That's fucking sad, man. Um, I do want to say, while we're talking about the mouthwash here, um, so figuratively, you know how people like, oh yeah, that leaves a bad taste in my mouth, kind of thing. I think I just actually said that like maybe like a few minutes ago, but um, I feel like Jimmy does something that leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth. So he takes it upon himself to cleanse that, but to bring himself to finish off that 0.1%. After his work is done, he spits himself out. Jimmy is, I feel like, the symbolic mouthwash because I feel like you could say that we could also apply to Curly. Like, it kills 99.9% of the bacteria, but it's also too sweet to be good for your health long term. Paralleling his talk with Anya about the dead pixel, which could represent that 0.1%, and him being used to always looking at the bigger picture ultimately leads him not knowing or not being able to see that Jimmy is the monster he truly is
Hmm.
due to their past friendship, and also not taking action against it until it's already too late to act on it.
I never thought about that. I think you're right there.
I feel like that's okay. I feel like that's a cool thought, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It's something I thought that hit me after I played the game another time. Like, oh, write that down, write that down.
I think you're right about that, honestly.
Thank you. That's the smartest I've ever been in my life. So, um, but yeah. So yeah, they just find a shit ton of mouthwash. It's very depressing. Swansea again is a recovering alcoholic. He breaks his sobriety and consumes a fuck ton of mouthwash for the alcohol content. Anya says that he can't. You can't use it as anything, and no disinfectant because the sugar content's too high. You're gonna fucking get an infection from that shit. Um, because overall, it's not helping. It's not helping at all. And another thing is, so again, Curly is in a bunch of pain from his pain, and he has taking painkillers to kind of help that. Well, he's not taking them; the other people are helping him take it. Um, Anya, Jimmy, has been the one that we see predominantly feeding Curly his pills because Anya continually can't bring herself to do it.
A lot of
Um,
people seem to, I kind of agree with them that the force situation of having to force feed him the pills reminds Anya a whole bunch of her situation that happened to her with Jimmy.
it has to. I I mean,
That's why she can't stomach it. That's what I think.
yeah, I agree. Like, just going going through something like that fucks with you. It's traumatizing, and I don't see why he wouldn't wanna do that. Like, I mean, Anya is the sweet girl. She she wants to be a nurse, she wants to help people, and I feel like that ideology that she has within herself to do that, as well as a mixture of the stuff that she's gone through is just an awful mix of, you know, I don't wanna do that. Why the fuck would I wanna do that? It's awful.
Yeah, she almost throws up even thinking about it.
Mhm. And Jimmy fucking makes fun of her for it and calls her weak and an awful person, and I fucking hate that.
He melts down at almost every instance. He's extraordinarily emotionally immature.
Mhm. He is. And I fucking hate the way he treats her, especially. Like, he treats everyone like shit, but Anya got the worst of it. At least from Jimmy's, like, rage and short-temperedness and just the way that he is. It's just fucking
She
so
was stuck
sad.
on a closed ship with him.
Yeah. Like, imagine being stuck with your abuser who took advantage of you, and as a result of that, you get pregnant against your consent. You have to carry this person's kid while you are in space for another 8 months, and potentially having to no, actually, you know what? I lied. She was already, like, weeks pregnant at that point because she had to have been as she was able to find out at that point, and when Curly and Anya were talking at the nighttime screen scene in the game, she asks how long they have left of their journey, and they find out that they have about a little over 8 months left. And I feel like
Not enough
that,
time.
yeah, like, at that point, like, it's just that she realizes, like, fuck. Like, and even if that happened, like, post crash, what are you gonna do? You can't deliver a kid in those awful conditions. Like, there's just medical supplies, there's no safe medical equipment to do that. Like, you're just in a really shitty situation,
Not to
and
mention Jimmy would
given
almost certainly try to do something.
oh, I'm sure. I mean, fuck. Curly finds Jimmy outside of the cockpit after Anya tells him about the baby before the ship crashed. It's possible he went to retrieve the emergency kit from the locker and didn't find it as Anya hit it, and then it's like, "You know what? Fuck it. If I can't deal with that, I'm just gonna crash the ship." Who knows? But honestly, I wonder if that did happen, now that I think about it.
That pretty much describes what happens, honestly.
Maybe. I mean, we don't know why. We just know that there's a bunch of odds, like, he was gonna get fired, he had this, bec you know, he was gonna get laid off from his job. I'm assuming because Curly gave him that job in the first place, and that it was stated that Jimmy had a rough past back on Earth. I'm sure he probably couldn't get a job anywhere else. Like, that was basically his only means of, like, a sure paycheck. That was getting ripped away from him, and then on top of it, he's a fucking idiot, and then also a horrible fucking person, and got someone against their will pregnant, and if they're gonna be on board and not scheduled to return back to Earth in the time frame that Anya's going to give birth, it's pure fucking evidence that he did something, and he's gonna get arrested for it. That's just hardcore evidence against him, like, what is he gonna do? He's fucked either way.
So he just decides to end it and end it for everyone else. So there's no way possible way
Yeah,
anything could happen.
he just has a fucking
And
meltdown,
he fucks even
he's like,
that
"I'm gonna
up.
take the." Yeah, he does. He fucks that shit up. And unfortunately, poor Curly has to get at the expense of it because he's trying to go ahead and fix it, and he doesn't get there in time, which fucking sucks. Poor Curly.
Yeah.
But man, this game. Um, but yeah, no, another thing is before we go back to like, Anya and or at least fucking the mouthwash thing. Um When Curly and Anya are at that nighttime simulation screen thing or whatever the fuck it is, um, Curly makes a note about not being able to see the dead pixel on the screen, while Anya does. I feel like that could be an implication that Jimmy is, again, the dead pixel, and Curly couldn't see it because he only saw the bigger picture, but in the back of Anya's mind, he's always there, watching her, every move, always there, just he can't get away from him.
I never thought about it that way. I think you're right.
Mhm. Another idea I feel is that dead pixel it could also represent the assault, and the entire screen represents Jimmy. Every time Anya sees Jimmy, all she sees is a rapist, and an assaulter, a horrible fucking person. On the other hand, Charlie, who hasn't seen the dead pixel Jimmy, still has the illusion that Jimmy is a good person.
Yeah, I think you're right. Uh, the thing I always wondered about is what do you think the mouthwash actually means to the story? What do you think it's
What
symbolic
like,
of?
are you talking about, like, the actual physical mouthwash and, like, with the what it has to do with the events of the game? Or are you talking about, like, a symbolic
Symbolic.
sense
A
of
lot of I've heard a lot of people talking about it, but it's not been very concise. What do you think the mouthwash
to
relates to?
me, if we're talking about specifically the mouthwash, like, specifically the mouthwash, that one thing, I'm gonna keep my thing that I feel like that's supposed to represent Jimmy. Like, he fucked up, everyone hates his guts, I can't take him seriously, and they don't take him seriously. And he is so hell-bent on wanting to be better than Curly, wanting to make a name for himself, and wanting to be, the world's best captain, that he tries to fix it on his own, but he doesn't because he fucking sucks and he's a coward and can't think for himself, that he just can't fix it, and he just spits himself out and just kills 99.9%. And I feel like another thing is, like, because, mouthwash, it kills 99% of the bacteria, the germs or whatever. All the crew's dead, including himself, all because of him. Hurley is alive, yes, but again, at what cost? He can't speak, he has no limbs, he's stuck in a cryopod for 20 more years. Is he going to live? We don't fucking know. Is he going to die? We don't know. He is stuck in a limbo, half dead, half alive. For how long, we don't know. So, is he really alive or is he really dead? Like, I feel like that could translate to 99.9 because we don't know if it's going to be 100%.
Hmm, hmm,
That's at least my thought on it.
yeah, I haven't been able to put a whole lot of time into thinking about how I feel about the mouthwash. I don't have a lot that I think it means. I think I like your idea a lot better. I've always found the mouthwash simply to be just a cruel reminder that you're screwed. It's wor- I view the mouthwash as a further insult to the entire situation of the crew.
Mhm. I like that actually because,
Yeah.
um, I feel like with that idea actually, that just kinda hit me now that you say that, because like, we learned that the alcohol, I'm sorry, the mouthwash contains alcohol, like, a shit ton. It was, like, what, 14%, like, like, ethanol or whatever?
Yeah,
It was
it's a
a
poison
high
and
amount of
sugar.
fucking alcohol. Yeah. So, it has a high alcohol count in it, but it also has a shit ton of sugar in it too. So, I feel like your thought about the mouthwash could kinda represent that double-edged sword that you're talking
Yeah.
about.
It's a final major fuck you. Like this company does not care about you. You're done.
Yeah.
You're not
It's like
making it out.
it's like, "You're dead, and for what cost? Delivering mouthwash. That's your fate. That's what happened. Mouthwash."
Mhm. And one of the dipshits on board couldn't handle what he did.
Mhm. But, like, something like with the game, you're not wrong. Like,
Yeah,
there's no answer that you do that's wrong.
yeah. It's impossible to really be wrong with how you're thinking about things. It's just
Mhm.
thinking about stuff.
Yeah. That's the glory of it. Um, but yeah, another thing that makes me God, it makes me think, this game just makes me think. Um, Curly, I don't know. I'll ask you a question because I'm not really sure about it. Do you think, given the circumstances, do you think that Curly would have been the first to kill Jimmy and possibly the only one? I mean, maybe Swansea, I'm sure, but if you think about it, generally victims don't face anger immediately. But in the case of Curly, he got to like you said earlier, he got to see every betrayal, every agonizing pain that Jimmy caused, and it opened his eyes, whether it be when he was left paralyzed, not paralyzed, left, like, broken and in a state of, like, just not in a good quality of living, disabled, if you even put it that way. Um, God, what the fuck was I saying? Um, anyway, like, or yeah, whether he was left when at the point where he was left actually left disabled, or at the sense of when he realized that Jimmy got the gun and found it when Anya told Curly to hide it in the first place and he didn't. So she took it in her own hands to hide the fucking thing. Do you think that Curly would have killed Jimmy if he had the chance?
I don't think he
Like, I
would have
kinda
killed
as a
him.
way to finally see that dead pixel, to bake a cake and tell the others she was sorry he didn't do better for them.
I honestly think that it would have been almost impossible for Curly to actually reconcile with what was happening. Because imagine that the person that you've grown up with, your one of your closest friends, has committed a completely unspeakable act.
Mhm. Multiple.
What do you do?
I don't
You
think you
know
can
this
do much,
person.
really.
You like this person. Like they're your friend. But they've done something unforgivable. And
Mhm.
it's a big, big difference with a lot of people in how they want to handle that. Curly was
Mhm.
unable to even understand what happened.
Yeah.
He never even got time to really process what happened. He's still sitting there. The first thing he does, I he goes immediately to Jimmy to confront him about what happened, and barely talks with him for a few minutes before he walks off and immediately wrecks Curly's entire life.
Yeah.
He doesn't get any time to process it, and all the time he gets to process it, he is stuck in invalid.
Yeah.
That's
Just
why I think him laughing was not him. It finally clicking for him. That was him breaking the fuck down at his helplessness. At Jimmy finally getting the gun that Anya didn't want him to have.
yeah. At that point, she was gone, so she wasn't gonna worry about it anymore, but also, I just oh my god, I just fucking realized something. Curly was there when she killed herself.
He had to watch that
He
happen
had to
too.
sit there and watch that happen, knowing that he was partially responsible for what fucking happened. God, it's an awful thought. Oh, man.
That's why I honestly think Curly got the worst of this because
Oh, dude,
she
no, I
had to
agree.
live with all of it. Like I said, I'm not trying to brush what happened to Anya under the rug at all. That was fucking awful. But
Mhm.
Jesus Christ, Curly was stuck in hell and is stuck in hell, a living hell. He'll never be able to escape it ever.
Yeah, and even if he miraculously does get rescued, what life he's gonna live after? Like, he's just gonna have to live with that shit for the rest of his life.
Yeah. If people have talked about this, if actually Jimmy even started the cryo,
Oh my god. I mean, there's, like, at the scene, there's, like, little, like, smoky stuff coming down, but
yeah,
so I'm
he probably
assuming
did start the
yes,
cryo. Yeah.
but
It,
it was, like, super delayed. I almost got fucking scared, like, "Oh my god, dude. No,
imagine if
no,
he hadn't.
no."
Imagine if he fucking hadn't.
Oh my god. I would have died, dude. Oh my god.
Stuck in a little fucking cubicle until you eventually succumb to hunger while all your pain meds wear off.
Yeah. God, imagine if that fucking happened. Just being in the worst pain ever, not being trapped in there because you have no arms or legs to actually open the door. You're all alone, and you just have to sit there starving to death and thinking about the what the fuck happened. Oh my god.
It's horrible. It's
It's
probably one of the worst fates I've
awful.
ever seen of any character. Thankfully, I'm pretty sure he froze and will just
I
eventually
hope.
wake up completely unable to actually tell.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Curly's never going to be able to tell anyone what happened.
No.
If they even realize that is Curly, they might not even know what member of the crew that is.
Yeah. I mean, well, they would have to because everyone else's bodies is there. They would have to just narrow it down.
If they ever find the ship, if they're
Yeah.
not decayed by the end of it.
Well, they would probably do it by, like, skeletal remains and stuff. I'm sure they'd
Yeah,
be
they'd
able to
have to
find
do
figure out it.
dental records at that point
Yeah. They have to do, like, bones science.
if they even give a shit to do that, enough to do that.
Yeah, that's the thing with Pony Express, who fucking knows? I doubt it. Honestly, Curly
They might
probably fucking died.
just get labeled missing and never found.
Yeah. Oh my god. That's because either way, that's awful. Because in the case that Curly does miraculously live, get rescued, whatever happens, he can't speak, so he can't, like, say, "Hey, it wasn't me. I swear to God, it wasn't me."
Yeah, he
Um,
physically can't speak.
he can't speak. The only thing I could really think of that could maybe help point in the right directions is the fact that Jimmy got shot, but Curly doesn't have hands or feet, so how the fuck is he gonna walk to the cryopod? But then again, I'm sure they're probably gonna figure like, "Oh, well, she could have done that, before you lost your hands." Like, who fucking knows? Like, there's no winning, probably.
Oh lordy.
But yeah, um, let's see. What the fuck have we not talked? I'm sure there's something. Um, oh, another interesting thing is when they're all gathered at the table in the lounge celebrating Curly's birthday party thing that they do. And the other thing about Curly, Curly, when he got that fax from the company, they told him to tell through later. He thought it would be the best course of action to tell them now, which I get, I get, but didn't help. Um, what do you think Curly should have done? Do you think that did the right thing by telling them, or do you think he should have waited until they were closer to home, tell them that they were getting laid off?
I think that might have been Curly's biggest mistake was actually telling them that early
Yeah.
that they were screwed. I know he didn't want to keep it from everyone, but it probably would have been best for him to do that because then they would have actually made it back, and Jimmy would not have had time to wreck the ship.
Mhm.
Honestly, that's probably the biggest mistake in the entire thing.
Oh, I think so. I mean, because obviously Jimmy has a really bad reaction to it because,
Yeah,
it's outlined that Anya has no savings, is underqualified because she's poor thing failed medical school like 8 times. Swansea only has a few working years left in them. Uh, and he's like over here like, "Oh yeah, well, yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, well, you can bounce back thanks to your position, you lucky bitch." And then Daisuke, is an intern. Will probably be able to rely on his parents' money, so he's fine. Excuse me. Excuse me.
you know what I,
Um,
you know what I think probably would have happened
hmm.
if he had told them when they got back and they'd been back. I think Jimmy would have killed Curly.
Ooh,
I think when they were like back just
explain.
hanging out alone, they would have gotten off that, and Jimmy would have been so overwhelmed with anger at Curly being able to just abandon the crew. I think he would have stabbed the shit out of Curly back there and then
Possibly.
gone to prison for that.
Maybe. Oh my god, I didn't think about that.
Just thinking about how Jimmy acts,
How he is.
I highly expect him to would have he probably would have attacked Curly no matter what.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that. Damn. Yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah,
Because Jimmy was definitely driven to, I feel like he definitely was driven to because he's already stressed out and stuff. I feel like he was definitely driven to the edge because, the stress of his impending layoff and then Anya's pregnancy. Yeah, that probably didn't help. Um, it still sucks that the last moments of Curly's like perspective are spent like running past Jimmy to try to resolve the impending crash. And he managed to save the crew from instant death upon collision, but he mutilated himself in the process. I feel like, do you think that that could be? I feel like that could probably like be Curly's to him his way of trying to take responsibility for it, but maybe he's kicking himself because he feels like in his eyes that he failed
yeah.
in other regards.
No matter what happens, he's tortured.
Yeah.
And he went from
Damn.
being perfectly fine and not even knowing any of this stuff was happening to his life is over, but he has to live through it still.
Mhm. God, this game.
It's heavy. I think we're at two
Yeah.
hours now of recording.
Damn. This is insane. There's a lot to talk about this game, I swear.
Yeah,
Um, damn, I'm trying to think. I feel like there's something that I'm missing. Oh my god. Oh, um, we really didn't get to like the fucking what is it? Daisuke. Um, obviously, what happens to Curly. Anya unfortunately takes her own life because she just can't fucking deal with it anymore. Um, Swansea gets shot by Jimmy. Um, poor Daisuke. Oh my god. Poor baby. So earlier we talked about how Jimmy forced Daisuke to go up into a vent to try to get to the medical room where Anya was.
not even Forrest tricked
After
him.
hmm?
Not even Forrest full on tricked him.
Full on tricked them. Um, a drug. Okay, so earlier we said that Jimmy makes a cocktail to knock out Swansea. So the original recipe that he uses for that does not obviously contain alcohol because I'm sure that a business would not let you be drunk on their stuff.
They're already making you
Or
fucking clock out.
yeah, they're making a clock. Yeah. So, um, how the fuck do they knock out a gigantic guy who is a relapsed alcoholic? Well, So, you know
Isopropyl
how
alcohol.
Mhm.
The isopropyl alcohol.
Yeah, they find a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. Um, the only one, by the way. There's nothing else. This is it.
Wasted on
This
this.
fucking idiot, this fucking nitwit uses the only medical alcohol that they have on board the ship post emergency crash to put in a cocktail to drug Swansea so they can get into the utility room. Now, how is this an issue? Obviously, it's a fucking stupid idea, but also, Daisuke is the one that goes through the vent. But in doing so, he is severely injured. Um, he still manages to open the room from the inside, so I don't know how the fuck he did that, but he got banged the fuck up. After waking up from this spiked cocktail, Swansea laments that he was unable to save Daisuke from the dire situation, and he ends up. Oh wait, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Um, so Jimmy. Okay, yeah. So he gets banged up. Daisuke is not doing good. Swansea is pissed, livid at Jimmy for making him do that, and they need to. And Swansea's like, "Oh yeah, we Anya had a bottle of isopropyl alcohol. We can go ahead and use that to, um, use it as an antiseptic on Daisuke's wounds. Haha, joke's on you. This fucking bitch used it to drug you. So what do they use as a failed antiseptic? Fucking mouthwash. As
Which
Anya
is
said
why
earlier.
physically couldn't get the bleeding to stop, and that's why eventually he just decided to kill the Daisuke.
Yeah, so, so obviously, okay, obviously you shouldn't use mouthwash for a antiseptic. Um, Actually, let me look at what the fucking sugar content of it. Hand mouthwashing, mouthwash. I don't know if it was said, but
I think it was said at some point.
I know that they had a thing on there in the ad. They had a thing in the ad. Let's see. I'm just gonna read this. Yeah, I'm gonna read this directly from the mouthwashing Wikipedia page. Quote, mouthwash is a small plastic bottle with cyan liquid manufactured by Dragon Breath. The label claims that it kills 99.9% of all germs. It is the only item that the crew finds upon opening the Tulpar's cargo hold and is also commonly seen in the Bizarro sequences of the game. I'm just gonna skip ahead. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So Yeah, so Jimmy also attempts to try to apply it as a disinfectant to treat Daisuke's wounds, which ultimately wound to be pointless. Um, interesting. So the developers have said, it says, quote, Dragon Breath is the company that produces food products for Pony Express. Interestingly enough, sweetener is the only 100% germs-free product it produces. In comparison, gelatin, water, and tonic are 70% and 95% germs-free, respectively. Furthermore, water and tonic are listed in having the same ingredients.
It's the same fucking thing.
Yeah,
Oh, that cocktail must have tasted like shit.
it must have tasted like shit. Given the lack of empty bottles in the med bay, Anya was presumably the only crew member to never succumb to mouthwashing. Uh, During a
You
commercial
said
scene
the
at the end.
thing.
Hmm?
You said the thing.
You should get thing. Roll credits. Roll credits. Holy
They
shit.
said
Okay, that's actually what
mouthwashing.
it's called. The
Oh
actual proper
shit.
term for using mouthwash is mouthwashing. And you're like, oh my god, they said the thing. Oh my
Yeah,
god, roll
I just thought it was
credits.
funny.
Roll credits.
They said the thing. They said the
During
thing.
the commercial scene at the end of chapter 4, a fine print disclosure can be seen at the bottom of the screen. It reads as follow, quote, Consult with your local dental hygiene specialist before, during, and after using the use of Dragon Breath X mouthwash. Dragon Breath will not accept any responsibility for any harm caused by use of this product. Oh shit! For any harm caused by
Will
use of
not
this
accept
product.
any
Oh my god.
responsibility.
That's weird. So, is that, like I feel like that's kinda ambiguous of, like, whether, like, the X in Dragon Breath X mouthwash is part of, like, the corporate or brand name. I feel like, judging by the phrasing of the aforementioned commercial, I feel like it'd be, like, a subsidiary of the product itself. I don't know. But, okay, so it's not said s okay, so
Hmm.
Swansea states that the bottle contains 14% ethanol. Um Typically, in real life, ethanol content in mouthwash varies between 5% and 27%, I will say, depending on brand typically. Um, Also, in real life, most mouthwash either substitute or mix in non-sugar sweetening agents. So, like, we're talking about, like, compounds such as, like, sorbitol, xylitol, sucralose, sodium saccharin, which are similarly not suitable for sterilizing wounds. It's actually a awful, awful idea, especially sucralose. Um, so basically, um, holy shit. Oh, I'm gonna raise one more thing just before I get back into the sucralose thing. Uh, So, as shown on the label, each bottle contains 24 fluid ounces of liquid. Um, in chapter 5, it is shown that each cardboard box contains 40 bottles. Assuming all are uniform in size, every crate contains 960 fluid ounces of mouthwash. Yeah.
God, that's so much fucking
And
mouthwash. Holy shit.
in to show you that, because I can do calculations sometimes. Um, 960 fluid ounces in gallons. That would be that would be about oh my god, that'd be about like if I'm doing the method, that'd be about like 7.5 gallons per box. That's a lot of fucking mouthwash.
God
Damn!
damn, that's
Ow! I
so
hit my
much.
hand. That's a lot of mouthwash.
It's a
That's
lot of wasted time.
so much mouthwash. Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Um. But yeah, so anyway, sucralose is a artificial sweetener. That's the most common form of stuff in mouthwash next to xylitol, whatever. Um, Most people know what a Splenda, I will say. So yeah, so like
Oh, okay.
I know some mouthwashes that have sucrose is like 3D White Diamond, Listerine has it. Um, Yeah, I will say, ingesting large amounts of fake sugar, which a bunch of people typically have, um, allergies to like fake sugars, like sucralose and all that, um, aspartame, stuff like that. So, um, ingesting a lot of it definitely is linked to cause organ damage, genetic damage, reproductive damage. Is also known to increase inflammation in the body and lead to huge problems like obesity, diabetes. It is considered generally safe when consumed in moderation. I don't think they're doing that, downing like bottle after bottle of mouthwash. Um, but
Mm.
yeah, if you're not, if you really need to, you could use mouthwash if it's only alcohol to stop bacterial growth. Um, yeah, honestly, I would
At that
prefer
point, you may as
doing
well just be
that. I
using
I
like
feel like
whiskey or
that would be
something.
better. I mean, you could use it as long as it doesn't have sugar in it. I will say I wouldn't recommend it, but in the case that you do, you could. But, God. Yeah, but typically sugar in an open wound, um, it's probably not good. Um, Probably not good.
Mm. The sugar does not. It's like asking for a bacterial culture in your fucking open wound.
Oh, sorry, I'm itchy. Yeah, like, yeah, I mean, in the olden times, people used to do that. They used to put fucking you could probably put, like yeah, they used to put, like, honey on wounds and stuff to heal things. It's which is fine. Um, I would recommend it because, sugar but, dude, imagine putting straight sugar on an open wound. That's gonna fucking burn, dude. But just dude, just imagine the fucking, like, mix of, like, the
Ugh.
alcohol and, like, the
Yeah.
sugar. Dude, that's just like a that's a breeding ground for, like, fucking bacterial colonization, sepsis. Oh, man. It's awful. I'm getting ahead of
Oof.
myself. Um,
You're
all
good.
over the place. This game's
I'm
all
kind
over
of
the place, so it
all
makes
over the place
sense.
right now.
Um, Play the game.
It's
Please
good.
play the game.
Once again, you guys just play it.
It's worth
Play the
it.
game.
It's worth it.
Bet some
Um,
money.
let's see. So, yeah, um, surprise, surprise, Daisuke gets sick. Um, and Swansea unfortunately has to resort to using the emergency axe to put Daisuke out of his misery. Um, from his wounds. So poor guy. Um,
Yeah.
oh, another fuck thing. So after everyone dies, except for Curly and Jimmy, Jimmy fucking loses his marbles, man. Like he just grabs all the corpses, puts them around this table, makes a like creates like a party, and puts like Curly's body in the middle of the table and like cuts off his leg, like a piece of his
It
leg.
fucking eats him.
His
Another
leg. Oh
fucking
my
like mini
god.
game later of like force feeding him.
It's
God,
like, oh my god.
yeah.
I don't know. Is that like a hallucination? Or did he actually legit feed this man his own leg? Like that's fucking gross. He probably fed his own leg. Yeah,
I'm pretty positive he actually fed his own.
sure.
I'm pretty positive he fed him his own leg. In a weird, fucked up attempt at believing he was helping him survive.
But that's so yeah, that's so fucking oh my god. Yeah, and then he supplies that yeah, he eats it. He eats it too. He eats his leg. They both eat their leg. He eats the leg. Gross. But another thing I think is weird is like
Insane.
um the fact that I don't actually mention it, but it is canonical that Jimmy is sexually attracted to cartoon horses. This man is legitimately a brony on top of it. Not saying that bronies are horrible people, by the way. Not saying that. But he might be a brony. That's all I'm saying. Um,
Yeah, it was funny because they had that little line about the about Jimmy joking about
Fucking
being sexually
horse.
attracted to
Yeah.
cartoon horses because of Polly, the fucking mascot. And they didn't think about the Brony community until
So like,
after
oh
the
my
game was
god,
already
oh no,
published
we've
and
done
out.
fucked
And
up.
they're like, "Oh shit!"
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We didn't mean to. Um, So yeah, we also see that Jimmy is actually confronted, speaking of which, he's actually confronted by Dolly, who I think is so funny because he basically mocks him for his inability to take accountability for his faults, which I think is hilarious. And Jimmy's like, no, I can redeem myself if ensure Curly's survival. And so he puts him in the cryopod and apologizes to him. and then he shoots himself off screen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anything you wanna talk about specifically, James, that we probably
that's the end of the game.
didn't talk about in our, 2 hours?
Oh, particularly, once again, this is really. I love
Mhm.
supporting independent games, especially really, really good ones. Some of my favorite games I've ever played have been from independent developers. Like I just bought the not too long ago. I just bought the entire collection on Steam from Puppet Combo because I want to play some of his games. Also makes a lot. Just support independent developers. Definitely give this game a playthrough if you haven't ever played through it. And I'm sorry you've gotten
Dude,
through
you
this
had
with
since
a shit ton of
September, come
spoilers,
on,
and you probably
y'all.
know a bunch about the game now. But still actually experiencing the game is different from us talking about it.
Yeah,
Even if you think it might be spoiled, go
legit,
play
we
it.
spent 2
It's
hours
fun.
talking about
It's a
it,
really good game.
but you're gonna get like, we didn't even cover everything, really. Like, there's so much stuff that you miss
Yeah.
just talking about it. Like, you just it's just one of the things where you have to experience it to be actually able to get the entire story. It's worth it, trust me. I will say, um, again, there's some very sensitive themes in
Yeah.
this game, and all themes that I'm very uncomfortable with as a human being, but they are handled very well because
I
they're
think they're
not
handled
glorified at
expertly though.
all. That's the big key. They are not glorified. They
Yeah.
are meant to be awful, and they are meant to be shown, and they're used in the sense of portraying Jimmy as the monster that he is.
How do you feel? A lot of people. I saw someone post a little while ago. That was someone comparing how different media handled sexual assault.
Oh boy.
Comparing Anya and Angel Dust from Hazbin Hotel. I've been seeing a lot of strange comments about
No.
people saying that somehow they're glorifying sexual abuse. I don't understand people talking
I
about that. Have they watched the show? He's heavily fucked
I'm
up by that, isn't he? He's got a whole fucking
yeah,
song
I
about
wanna
it.
say
He's got a whole
oh,
damn
I'm sorry.
song about it. It's called Poison. And also, the main thing I see people complain about is that how sexual Angel Dust is. When I don't think people realize that one of the main responses that often happens from sexual assault is extreme
Mhm.
sexualization of oneself as an attempt to regain control over it. I've seen that before in cases like police cases and things of people dealing with that, and instead of wanting to like cloister themselves away and like never do it again, do it a lot more because they're trying to fix it in their head. They're trying to make it acceptable in their mind. And I don't understand why people are talking about that like it's terrible representation.
Whoever's saying that those things are glorifying it, fuck you. For I'm s huh?
Did you watch the fucking show? The people who were saying that,
Yeah,
the people I'm
yeah,
talking about the people who were saying that. Like,
and
did
that's
they
what I'm saying,
watch
like,
the
if you're
show?
saying that if you can watch 2 blatant things that are obviously not supposed to be glorified, and you're still unsure, fuck you, man. Like, get a life. Like, seriously. I'm not joking. Like, that's some shit that you don't really deal with. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sure. It has to
honestly, I
be
think
because
it's
if you're
just
just
people
that
fishing
blind,
for
oh my
reactions.
god, bro. But here's the thing, like, unfortunately, we live in a shitty world where stuff like that is too common. Um,
We live in a
and
society.
you have to be mindful of stuff like that because there are a ton of people where that kind of thing has happened to them. And
I'm sorry I fucked up
oh, we live in a
your intro by
society.
saying we live in a society.
In a
You
society.
said we live in, and I fucking went,
No,
we
it's
live in a
okay.
society in the
No, thank
background. You
you. But what you were saying about the like that and being linked to hypersexuality, and if you have taken psychology, even at the basic level, you you kinda learn how, like, stuff like anger, sadness, loneliness, um, like, boredom, stuff like that can all be internal triggers to something when it comes to, like, trauma. When it comes to stuff like that, the desire it doesn't have to be specifically related to sex or anything like that, but typically a desire to when you experience trauma, you long for a desire to escape a feeling that you're used to, and you're wanting to escape something that's a trigger, which could be like an internal trigger, like something that you're dealing with on the inside, something that might be harder for you to explain to somebody else, and it's easier to just kinda keep it within you. Like, like not wanting to be a bother, not knowing how to kinda address it. Um, and like, you have like your external triggers, like which come from the environment around you, person, a place, situation, um, all that stuff. So it's just more of like different people have different brains. And when coming onto that, you those people have different ways of dealing with the things that they've been through in their life. So I'm sorry, I'm probably explaining this awfully, but
You're good.
I mean, I feel like in that case of like um sexual assault and stuff like that, I feel like hypersexualization is a valid trauma response where physical and emotional pain intertwine and leave a person more distraught than they were before. Because, like stuff like sexual abuse, sexual violence, and sexual assault can all contribute to a hypersexual trauma, but it's not always a definite. I mean, it can also manifest in like the form of like sexual content leading to
Yeah.
like problematic sexual behavior, compulsive behavior, and stuff like that. Um,
The human brain is a
mhm.
strange thing with how it processes stuff, especially traumas
But
and things like that.
I mean, because in the case of like Angel Dust, you can tell that he is like, very impacted by negative stuff in his relationships, like, obsessively seeking out partners, engaging in risky sexual behaviors in situations that put both parties at risk, and in turn, that leads like feelings of guilt, shame, isolation, and that kind of allows you to kind of further exacerbate on your behaviors. In addition, it seems he's also negatively impacted by his ability to form and maintain those healthy relationships. Um, and then you have parallel like Anya, where going through that same thing makes her more secluded, fearful, isolated. So it's just more of like how that person in question deals with things and how they are as a person, and then how they feel is the best way for them to cope with it. So it's hard to talk about things like that when you don't necessarily understand what it is like to go through something like that. And I it kind of rubs me the wrong way when people try to be knowledgeable about stuff like that when they don't really know all about it, or don't I would say don't know about it because it's a hard concept to grasp sometimes. So I'm gonna go ahead and put like they don't choose to do their research and falsely believe things that are obviously not true, or do things that either
Yeah.
intentionally or whatever mock a person's pain or ridicule them for it. Because that
Yeah.
shit's not fun. It's awful.
But like I said, a lot of people
Mhm.
just say stuff on the internet. Don't give two thoughts about how it actually affects people. They're just looking
Yeah, be kind to
as
people, come on,
someone, my
be
friend
kind
calls
to
it,
each
rage
other.
baiting.
We don't need this. Yeah, oh my god.
Anywho, I think that about
Yeah,
wraps up
I'm
what we
good.
have
Oh
to
my
talk
god, I
about that
can't believe
stuff.
we
I don't have
wow.
anything else.
And still feel like I'm missing stuff, but, yeah. I feel like
That's for you guys to explore in the actual game. Go
well,
play it. See it, how your own how you
yeah,
guys interpret it.
Mouthwashing, fantastic game, hot huge recommend. I don't like video games often. I was in well, it's not a long game either. It took me, like, maybe about, like, 2.5 hours at most to finish. It's very short, actually. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
late
short enough.
night
You could
kinda
definitely play
thing.
in like an
Yeah.
afternoon.
Dang, that went depressing fast.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
that's all right.
so glad to be back. Sorry about being gone for 2 months, but it's okay. It's fine. Sometimes you just need a break from things. Um, yeah.
Yeah, it's
We
important
wanted
to
to
have
talk about
breaks once
mouth
in a
washing for
while.
a little bit, so I'm glad we finally got to do that. Hopefully I can go ahead and get this thing edited and posted and oh yeah. Um, Next month is Valentine's month. Yippee! So we're probably gonna do something fun. We're probably gonna read some really stupid, steamy horror stories. I really want to do that if James will let me. James has the voice for it, so I think that'd be great.
That'd be funny.
Hee it's a hey, no, it's not a
I
request.
suppose.
It's an ask. I'm forcing you. I
Okay,
damn,
I'll do it.
that's awful. We just talk
I'll
about
do
like
it.
sexual assault, and I'm forcing you to do a fucking episode about fucking stupid, steamy stories about like I don't
It's
know. I'm
fine.
sure we'll find like a smut about like Michael Myers and Jason. Oh God, I'm
I've
sure
seen
it
that stuff
exists,
before.
bro. I still
I've
think the
seen some.
stupid,
I've seen
dumbest
some funny
shit
shit
I've
before.
ever read on like Wattpad was like the stupid, oh my God, the Ronald McDonald. Oh my God. That's never leaving my mind. That's ingrained in my brain forever, unfortunately. I'm stuck with that. Oh my God. Hmm?
Oh man,
Oh, I got so scared when you didn't respond. Like, oh God, what
that's
if the
amazing.
mention of Ronald McDonald fucking killed him? He McFucking died. He McDied.
No, I'm
Alrighty.
good.
Well,
I'm
it's getting
good.
late. Holy shit, I can't believe it. Thank you guys for joining us if you made it this far. Yay. Congratulations, you did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
So
all
yeah,
those. I
check
think
out
that's all we have to talk
Mouthwashing.
about.
Um, Huge recommend. So yeah, have a yeah, how I almost oh my god, it's been so long, I almost forgot that we
Stay
had a
spooky,
fucking
guys.
ending. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. I'm still recovering from the fucking drive
Yeah,
back from Miami yesterday. All right. Well, have a good night,
you're
everybody,
good.
and stay spooky.
Stay spooky.